Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm so happy to share with you guys my recipe for honey glazed salmon. It is so simple, so easy, and so delicious. It'll be ready in 30 minutes maximum. I love this recipe, so let's get into it. So first of all, I have a few ingredients here. I've got some honey. I'm not using any specific type of honey, it's just general honey. I've got half a stick of butter. I've got 2 lemons. Of course, when you make salmon, it's always good to add some lemon to kill that rawness. So I've got some salt and pepper, and I usually use salt and pepper to taste. And I also have some garlic powder here. So this is the salmon. It's half filleted salmon, really fresh. So first I'm going to start by just slicing the salmon into fillet pieces. I would recommend that you get a really sharp knife to do this. It is so much easier. The salmon does have the skin on, so it will if your knife is not too sharp, it definitely will you will see the tears in the skin. But use a really sharp knife so it can just slide through the salmon easily. So once I've sliced the salmon up, I'm just going to pat dry. So when I pat dry, this will help my salmon to dry out. So when I'm have it in the oven roasting, it will dry out easier than when it has lots of water. So I'm going to start seasoning up. I've got my salt, which I'm using first. So sprinkle the salt on it, and I'm being very modest with the salt. I'm not using a lot, and I have my black pepper grains, and I love black pepper. I use it on everything practically, and it's really delicious on this salmon recipe actually. So here I have my onion powder, and I'm just using a little bit. I don't want to add a lot to it. It's just I don't want to kill the taste of the salmon, especially when you're going to add honey and you're going to make a sauce. You don't want to overpower it. You still want to taste, the salmon. You still want that taste of the salmon when you bite into the meat. Yeah, so I'm just massaging in. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm just going to prepare my baking tray. And I'm using some baking paper. I actually love anything I put in the oven. I always use a baking paper. I much prefer this to the foil, and it doesn't break, so you don't have to worry about that. So make sure that you grease your baking paper if you do, or even your foil. This will help the salmon not stick to the bottom of the pan, and then it breaks up and then gets complicated. So make sure you always baste it first. So this is ready for the oven. So once I leave it in the oven, I'm just going to prepare my other ingredients, like my lemon for my sauce. So I have my butter here, and I'm going to pop it in a saucepan. So now I'm just going to prepare my sauce and my honey. Just adjust when you're making this, depending on the size of the salmon you have, just adjust the recipe accordingly. If you have little fillets, then you use a little bit less, but if you want a really saucy base glaze, then you go for a bit more. I would say maybe 2 stick of butter. So now I add in my lemon juice, and I'm just stirring to combine. So just keep stirring until everything's combined. Make sure you just have, don't just go ahead and throw everything together. Leave it to combine. And there you go. Everything's combined. So now I remove my salmon from the oven. And as you can see, my salmon's not cooked. So now I'm just going to spread it all over. And I had my salmon in the oven on like 200 degrees. So all it's doing is just heating it through. I didn't want it to cook. And now when I add my sauce, now I want it to cook. So once I've added my sauce, I'm just spreading it, making sure that it's all over. And then I'm just going to pop it back into the oven. And look how delicious that looks already, you know. So whilst I'm waiting for my salmon, I'm just going to be preparing my mashed potato. So I'm doing some yummy mashed potato with my salmon. So after boiling my mashed potato, I'm just going to add some butter, and I'm also going to add some milk to the mashed potato, and this will soften it. I do have my saucepan on a low heat, and that still will help everything, you know, the butter melts and it helps with the softness of the potato. So I'm just going to go ahead and scrunch, and as you can see, crushing it all the way, it's really soft, really velvety, and this is exactly how I love